Just give me a reason to keep my heart beating. Don't worry, it's safe right here in my arms. As the world falls apart around us, all we can do is hold on, hold on.
What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to bring you my Rurouni Kenshin Hokkaido arc chapter 4 review and discussion. Yes, guys, Kenshin's Hokkaido arc has returned. Chapter 4. And this man, Sanosuke Sagara, returns in this chapter. This chapter was awesome. Before I even start, on June 4th, the new Shonen Jump SQ magazine came out, and I translated the entire chapter 4. It is in the description, so you guys can check it out. That's pretty much the only place you can find it, because I could not find it anywhere else. Obviously, I don't know if anyone else is translating it, but I did it myself, personal translation. So I hope you guys enjoy. Now, this chapter, wow, this had a lot of things. This had some heartfelt moments, okay? Kenshin's reuniting with his best friend, Sanosuke Sagara, seeing him, defend against him and tell these soldiers, you think you can kill this man? I don't think you know who you're messing with. And then he tells them, I'm Sanosuke Sagara, and over there is my best friend, Kenshin Himura. And it was just awesome to see that, because Kenshin had a moment of reflection a few days before about Sanosuke. Where is he? I really want to know where he is, and it was great to see that progression in the chapter. So it was great to see him reunited with his best friend, and we got some awesome action. Obviously, there's this new faction, this new group, and they are the sworn enemy of the Batosai, as many of them are, but it was great to see Sanosuke stand up for his best friend, and there was that moment of, who are you? By many people. And it was really funny because, he has this really bushy beard, and it's like a mountain man. I laughed so hard when that happened. It was really funny. I mean, like, this is the Sanosuke we're all used to, and then we get this Sanosuke with this bushy beard, and it was just really funny to me. It was really funny. It was really awesome too, though, because we don't actually see his face until after he, knocks out the guys, and he's like, I'll be your opponent, and everyone is like confused. Who are you again? Who are you? And even Kenshin was like confused at first. So I don't think that Watsuki Sensei was actually, forgetting the fact that Kenshin, and Sanosuke have a deep relationship, a deep friendship, but it's more the fact that his beard just threw him off so much. He's never seen him in a beard, so I could see that. But yeah, it was really funny. Like I said, this chapter had some really good action. The really cool thing is that they bring elements from the first chapter back here to the new chapter. So the first thing is that the thug that Ashitaro met in the Akabeko returns to Hokkaido, and they end up confronting one another, and they go at it. They actually have a battle, and they fight each other. So that was really cool. And then obviously Kenshin comes in and stops the fighting, and that was really cool. And obviously that's where the guy recognizes him as Batosai the Manslayer. But yeah, this chapter had a lot, and like I said, the reuniting of best friends, Kenshin and Sanosuke, that was a really nice, heartfelt moment. Seeing the two of them together once again, just awesome. It was awesome. Now, I want to talk about some things that I noticed in the chapter, because there were a lot of interesting things that happened in this chapter. But you guys know what happened. I just want to show you and tell you what I noticed throughout the chapter. And then I have some discussion questions that we can discuss, and hopefully these will be developed further on in the arc or the next chapters. So yeah, first thing, confrontation. Okay, I explained this earlier, but Ashitaro confronts the guy from the Akabeko. Now, Asahi and these two people from the faction that she was adopted in, they show up again in Hokkaido. So what happens is Kenshin and the rest of them, they stay the night at an inn. But the kids, they're ungrateful, by the way. This was something I didn't like. They try to sneak away from Kenshin, and he notices it. So they basically say, I don't really care about this mission that Kenshin has for us. We're going back home. This is boring. I don't like this city. So literally they sneak away, and what ends up happening is they find that ship, the same black ship that they came in, and what happens is they try to sneak aboard, but those two people from that faction, that group that they had confronted in the Akabeko, show up again. So this thug, that kind of looks like Mugen from Samurai Champloo, he shows up and he realizes that's that guy. That's the guy that caused us to lose the envelope that we had. It's the guy that, forced us to leave. So there is a confrontation here and they fight. And that fight is pretty awesome. But I want to share with you guys from chapter 1. So this is the guy I'm talking about. This guy right here. You can see they have somewhat of a confrontation. He is waiting tables at the Akabeko, and they're talking to Asahi. She wants to be, free. She wants freedom out of the group. And this guy, obviously, Ashitaro, basically tries to help her out. And so this is the guy I'm talking about. So what happens is they have a confrontation. This is the last time you see them in a fight together. So you see him here, and then you see Ashitaro behind him attacking him. Well, eventually they take it outside, and they end up fleeing. So he never gets a chance to actually fight him, or we don't actually see the fight. But in this chapter, we do see the fight. And so what's freaking awesome about it is obviously Ashitaro has the Mugenjin, okay? The Mugenjin Shishio sword, right? He has the Mugenjin. And it's sealed, right? Kenshin sealed it in chapter 1. So he's fighting against him with a sealed sword. And the dude shows that, I've been holding back. I didn't really take you seriously in Tokyo, but now I'm gonna kill your scrawny little ass. So, it's really awesome. It's really awesome seeing, him show his strength, that he was holding back. So there's this part where Ashitaro attacks him again, and he holds it with 2 fingers, and he holds his sword back with 2 fingers. He was like, "Did you really think I was such a weakling?" And so that was so badass. And then he strikes him, and he doesn't really have a sword. He has some kind of, I'm not exactly sure what kind of weapon he has, but whatever he has, he strikes Ashitaro with it, and it knocks him. It knocks him back, but Ashitaro takes the hits, and it seems that he's in trouble. He's in trouble, and that's when Kenshin shows up. Kenshin shows up, breaks the dude's weapon, and that's right when he realizes, this guy is Batosai the Manslayer. So I love the fact that they're tying in the original chapters. He's not forgetting the story. So obviously, chapter 1 ties into the new chapter, and I love it. I love how this faction is connected to Hakodate, Hokkaido, and they even mention to Asahi, we have this new mission. Join us. So now we understand what they were talking about. So it was great to see that. Next thing, reflection. Okay, Kenshin, I mentioned this earlier, but Kenshin reflects on his friendship with Sanosuke. So, Aran is kind of puzzled. Why are you asking us, newcomers, to join you in this quest to find, Kaoru's father instead of some close friends of yours? And he's like, I don't really have a lot of friends. They were, killed, or they've been killed in the revolution, in the Bakamatsu. So we get this sad scene, but then he reflects back on Sanosuke and he's realizing, I do have a friend. There is someone I can rely on, but I don't know where he is. So it was great to see that, because later when Sanosuke shows up, that same scene is shown and he remembers. It was great to see that scene, and see Sano's return in that fashion. So that was really cool. The Wanderer. Okay, Sanosuke becomes the Wanderer. Okay, we know that, Kenshin's been the Wanderer for 10 years after the Bakamatsu, after the revolution. He walks around, wanders for 10 years. Well, Sanosuke is kind of the Wanderer now, right? He goes off to, America, Arabia, Europe, Mongolia. So he goes all through Asia, all through Europe. He goes to America. He returns in this chapter after 5 years. 5 years of wandering through different countries. So he's become the Wanderer. And in the cover page, you see him walking through the streets of the city. And he really does look like a wanderer. He's kind of out of place. And what's funny is he ends up losing it. Well, he's never had a good sense of direction, but he doesn't know how to get back home. He doesn't know where the dojo is, apparently. I don't know if that's true or not, but he says that he wanders around for 3 days and 3 nights in Tokyo, and he couldn't find anything. So he found his way back to Hokkaido. So I'm curious how he wandered all the way there, or if that is just a story. But it is interesting. It is interesting to think about how he actually found his way back to Hokkaido. Did he take a ship like Kenshin? He probably did. He probably took a ship back from where he was at. Batosai. Okay, Batosai is mentioned once again, and it is Sako, the thug that Ashitaro fights. He says, "You're Batosai, the manslayer." And what's great about this, it has that, part where he's our sworn enemy, kill him. And then it shows Asahi, the girl, and she's like, I knew it. And she did the same thing in a previous chapter in Ashitaro's story, where she recognized Kenshin as the Batosai. So that is very interesting. Obviously, she was in the Shishio faction, so that would make sense why she would know him. But I found it interesting that they showed that. Next thing is Mountain Man. Okay, Mountain Man refers to Sanosuke Sagara. Okay, when he shows his face, I explained this a little bit. He's got this bushy beard, and everyone is like dumbfounded. They're like, who the hell? What the hell? Who are you? Even Kenshin is a little confused at who this is. And the best reaction, guys, had to be Asahi. Asahi, the girl who escaped, from that group, that faction, right? They raised her as a war orphan. And well, anyways, she's watching nearby, and when they mention that Kenshin Himura is actually the Batosai, she says it to herself, as I thought. Kenshin Himura is the Batosai. It's just like I thought. So, out of nowhere, we see this rustling in the background, and it's Sanosuke, right? He's got his coat, and we see it going by. Well, anyway, we hear there's words, and it says, Kenshin Himura? And so she's like freaking out. She has like her teeth are showing, and she's got like this shocked look on her face. It was really funny because we know it's Sanosuke, but yeah, we didn't actually see his face, but we know it's Sanosuke. But we saw her face, because that was the funny part. But yeah, I found that interesting. Next thing, the true leader of the faction. Now, this faction or group, enemy group that Asahi was a part of, there are two main members. There's the old woman, okay? She's the one that probably raised Asahi as a war orphan. And then there's Sako, the one that actually attacked Ashitaro, not only in Hokkaido, but also the Akabeko. Well, the old woman gives authority to Sako and tells him to not hold back against Ashitaro. This time, show everything, make short work of this kid, you know? And I thought that was really cool. I was like, yo, he was holding back, you know? I didn't think anything of it, but yo, it was really great to see, because then, you know, maybe she's not such a pushover after all. But then, you know, Sako ends up, you know, Kenshin takes out his weapon, and then Sanosuke shows up and knocks out, you know, some of his soldiers, so he seems to be at a disadvantage, and then he shows that he's only, you know, he's holding back even still, and then he goes nuts. You see him, like, in this rage mode, and then right as he's about to unleash his power, that old woman shows up from behind, and it's freaky. It's scary looking, and she's like, "That's enough, Sako." And I was like, oh shit, like, she's about to, you know, and he stopped. She was like, "I thought I told you not to hold back." And so we get that moment where it's like, oh damn, we know who the authority is in this group. So that was really crazy. Yeah, so maybe she's the actual leader. I don't know if she has any strength as in power, but authority she definitely has. Obviously she has experience if she's part of this faction. Maybe she's even skilled as well. I bet she's skilled too. But yeah, that was interesting. So I didn't expect her to be that authoritative to, you know, the thug. But anyways, that was really cool. Anyways, we don't know Sako's true strength or even her strength, so that's another thing to think about. Reunited. Obviously, Kenshin is reunited with his best friend, Sanosuke. That was really great to see. Obviously, we get that moment where he's shaving with the reverse blade sword. That was really funny, because this is the first time Sanosuke's ever used the reverse blade sword, and he actually uses it to cut his, you know, his hair, his huge beard. And then they have their talk. We find out that Sanosuke has been traveling for 3 days and 3 nights all over Tokyo. He couldn't find his way back home, and it's really funny because Kenshin has this part where he's like, even if it's across the ocean, you still have that same sense of direction, and it's kind of funny because it's like he's telling him that he has terrible sense of direction, but he says it in a nice way. It's just Kenshin. It's just like Kenshin to say something like that too, but it was really funny. And also the way at the end where he's like, you know, I'm willing to rely on my best friend, and he puts his, you know, fist right on his the sheath of the reverse blade sword, and we get that those two spirits, you know, combining. Now they're going to join each other in this search for Kaoru's father. So that was really great. I did not expect this at all. I did not expect Sanosuke to actually join Kenshin in his journey because he's been traveling for so long. But now, I guess it makes sense. He's become a wanderer in a way. So now he's finally made his way back to Kenshin. And so now he's just going to join the group as he always has been. So, but that was really great. And like I said, I did not expect this. I thought he was going to go back to the dojo and see Megumi, see Yaiko, but apparently he couldn't find it. So that was kind of funny, actually. So on to the discussion questions. I have a few. So, what importance does the photograph of Koshijiro Kamiya hold for this faction? Now, the faction I'm referring to is the old woman and the thug whose name is Sako. Sako is the thug that fought Ashitaro in this chapter. In chapter 1, we see Asahi with these two people from the faction. They raised her. So, what importance does this photograph have? Because we see Sako in this chapter demand, where is it? Where is that envelope? Where is it? Where's the photo? And Ashitaro's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know that old man. And so there's some, that was interesting. I found that interesting how they connected it back to chapter 1. So I'm going to share that. So basically, this is Sako, who I'm talking about. That's his name, by the way. And then we have, obviously, Ashitaro is there. He hit Ashitaro in the head. And then you have the old woman. The old woman is right there. And then right here you have the envelope, right? And inside that envelope is the photograph. Now, in this scan, it says, we have a mission, a new mission, that's even greater than the Shishio faction that we sent you to. So we want you to join, and she refuses. She says, I don't want to kill anymore. I want to shine in this new era. So they kind of, get really upset. Obviously, Sako's like, don't act like you can think for yourself, and that's when he attacks him from behind. But the point I'm making here is that that envelope actually had the photograph of Koshijiro, and this is the photograph of Koshijiro right here. This photograph right here. It had that photo inside. So that's very interesting, and it seemed that Sako had some, he was very upset that it was taken from him, that they had to leave because of that confrontation in the Akabeko. Now, back to the actual envelope, because this envelope has a special, obviously there's this character here, and this is an ancient character for sword. Now, what I found this interesting because in chapter 2, on Mount Hakodate, the swordsman weapons are shown, right? The new enemy on Hakodate Mountain. It shows this very envelope. It shows this very envelope all in blood. It shows it in blood, and then it shows their demands. We want all the citizens to be armed. We want this much money. We want this many weapons. So it has all of their demands, like they're trying to start a revolution, and it has the same character on the envelope. So it makes me wonder, is this mission, and it seems to be the same one they're referring to, bigger than the Shishio faction, so it seems that way. But is there some connection between these two and the swordsman weapons? Besides them going there, are they actually in that group, or are they just, part of their mission? So that's something to think about. Like I said, there is some interesting things that happen in this chapter, especially with these faction members. Okay, next thing. How did Sano not find the dojo back in Tokyo? Okay, Sano is walking through Tokyo, apparently wandering for days. He's wandering for like 3 days, and he still cannot find his way back home. And it's really funny because Kenshin mentions that he has a terrible sense of direction, even when he crosses the ocean. So it's hard for me to believe that he couldn't find the dojo, but apparently that's what happened. How did he not find it, though? Is it possible he returned home and there's no one at the dojo? Maybe Yahiko left with Tsubame somewhere. Not saying, maybe they went to the Akabeko instead, and he's not at the dojo. So maybe that's possible. Or is it true and he just got lost? It seems that way. He got lost. What about Megumi? He didn't stop in and try to see Megumi? It seems like he was completely lost. He didn't know his way around, where to go. So he just went back to where he was on the ship and returned. And he went to Hakodate, apparently, because that's how he ends up meeting with Kenshin. Okay, the next thing. What secrets does Asahi have concerning her past? What happened in her past? What happened in her past? Because we know she was with those faction members, right? They raised her as a war orphan. So she was forced into this work, into being part of that faction. So they sent her to the Shishio faction, obviously. So that's one reason why she recognized Kenshin as the Batosai. But what happened in her past? She seems very mysterious. I'm curious what happened. Is there some connection to Koshijiro, possibly? Is there some connection there? Okay, guys, on to the last question, and that is, now that Kenshin has arrived in Hakodate, which is, by the way, the same exact place that battle is taking place with Saito and the swordsman's weapons, will he get involved? I had this as a discussion question in the last review discussion, but will he get involved? Do you guys think he will? Or will he just go off and try to find Kaoru's father, Koshijiro? I do think that two things will happen. I think that he's going to go off and try to find Koshijiro, and what ends up happening is on his journey to find him, he's going to be confronted by this faction, possibly even the swordsman weapons. I think that they're going to come, together. Somehow, Koshijiro is wrapped up in all of this. So I think that is the reason why he hasn't returned, and I think there's something mysterious that happened to him. So that is very interesting, and I do think that probably he's going to search for Koshijiro, and probably he will fight in a battle. But I don't know if it's going to be against swordsman weapons. That would be interesting. Obviously, Saito's going to need some help. But it's interesting to see where that goes. Also, I want to give a shout out to Chris JP20 for doing the color scans for me. They look really incredible. Throughout this review, I shared some of the color scans. He did them for me, so thank you very much, and allowing me to use them in my video. Like I said, I provided the link to the chapter of my translations on my Facebook page in the description. Please check that out. I really appreciate all the support, and I will see you guys in the next one, which hopefully, the next chapter comes out in July. I will be translating that one as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.